weeks left for CAT 2022. Now is the time to go ahead and solidify your personal exam taking strategy. With that in mind, BYJU'S Exam Prep brings to you the All India Open Mock CAT. Know exactly where you stand against thousands of CATers and get video solutions and a live mock attempt. What more? There are also thousands of scholarships up for grabs.
Hi everyone, very good morning. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our weekly editorial analysis. Thank you so much for coming back to this session where we take up articles from various editorials, Aeons, magazines, websites. We try to read that, we try to understand how to read an RC better, how to attempt it better, how to infer better. That's the agenda of this session. I hope I'm clearly audible and visible. Yes, Amrit says I'm clearly audible and visible. So yes, let's shoot with the session. But before I actually talk about the article that I've brought today, I'd like to tell you a few things. One, tomorrow, just a minute. I have to change something here. It is, yeah. Give me a second, guys. Yeah. So tomorrow, our window for All India Open Mock for CAT 22 starts and it closes on 9th of October. So make sure you sit for this mock if you wish to see your performance amidst many people across the country. You cannot miss out on this mock. Make sure you register for it and take it as soon as possible. Tomorrow the window starts. And apart from that, we have our test series that we have recently launched, which will cover up CAT and other MBA entrance examinations. Make sure you inquire about that. The description is there in the under my video in the description box. You could know more about this program as well. Now, what are we going to be doing in this session today? We are going to be taking one article, not two, but one article from a source I'm not going to tell you about. And this article actually talks about mental health, okay? So we'll be discussing mental health, but then mental health sounds easy. This article is not a very easy one. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sankirtana, Maitreyi, Disha, Amrit. Good morning, everyone. So we're going to be talking about mental health, but not a simple article. Certainly not a simple one. It has a lot to infer. So it's a pretty tricky article. We're going to be discussing vocabulary, contextual one, no separate slide, but we'll learn how to infer contextual vocabulary. We'll learn how to draw the tone of the author, the central idea of the passage, and many inferences through the article that I've brought for you. So are you ready with the article, everyone? Would you like to read something about mental health? Here we go with the first page. Read this page, okay, and identify what is your focus while we are going to be reading this article. Your focus is going to be one on identifying what is going to be the argument. So I'm going to be focusing on the argument of the author, okay, and I'll also try to identify what are the premise so that it helps me skim through the article. But remember, these are going to be the most important lines because this will help me identify this and this, all of that. So we're going to be focusing on what is going to be the argument of the author. Here we go with the first page. Read this and send me a done. I hope my torso isn't covering the caption. Tell me if it hides the text. Yeah, I think I need to move. Just a minute. Give me a second. Here you go. Send me done once you're done reading the page. Done. Okay, Disha is done. Okay, we understood one thing, that this article is about mental health. Okay. Now, let me first address this point. If there are multiple questions in a passage, we've discussed this before. Let's talk about this again. If there are many questions that are put up in a passage, why are the questions put up? Let's try to answer that, because if we know that, our ability to understand the passage becomes better. Questions are put up in a passage because the author wants to grab your attention to a point he wants to make. And very likely, the questions will be answered in the passage. That's exactly why the questions are put up. Will you agree with my point, everyone? I would agree, Sankirtana. I would agree with what you've written. Do you also agree with what I've said, that the questions are put up in a passage so that the author grabs your attention to a prominent issue which he is very likely going to discuss in the passage and address the problem as well? Yes, absolutely yes. So question kya put up hai yahan? The first question is that mental health crisis. Everyone is suffering from mental health. We don't have help. We don't have awareness about mental health. There's a crisis. But then, is the solution to this crisis not receiving more mental health care? I mean, if I have headache, what is the solution to it? I'll take a painkiller, right? That's the solution to it. That's the medication to it. Similarly, for mental health crisis, the medication is mental health care. But is medication not a solution to it? Then what else is a solution? Probably the author is going to be discussing that in the passage. Okay. Then he of course talks about how mental health has been increasing. The crisis has been increasing. Almost everyone has been suffering from some mental disorder or the other, or some mental health help they need in one form or the other. This paragraph talks about that. There's another question, and that is related to this crisis. Please read this line very carefully. It says, a crisis that affects mental health is not the same as the crisis of mental health. You know what this line means? Did you understand this line? To let thoughts flow in an analytical manner. Absolutely yes, Disha. Correct. So now let's understand this line that I have highlighted. He says, एक होता है crisis. Crisis, for example, COVID-19, or for example, somebody suffering from a loss of business, or for example, inflation. All of these are examples of crisis which will lead to mental health issues coming up. That's one thing. The other thing is mental health crisis. What is mental health crisis? Mental health crisis is that everyone is suffering from a mental health issue which we are unable to address. We are unable to resolve. So there's a crisis of mental health. There are two words used here. One word used here in two different perspectives. Crisis. One says a crisis leading to mental health. The other says a situation where mental health is in a bad state leading to a crisis. It's a modifier question. If you have studied grammar, you would know that. Both of the crises would mean different things. One, a crisis leading to mental health, for example, COVID. Other, the situation of mental health being in a crisis, that we are unable to receive help, we are unable to recognize mental disorder and address it. That's another crisis. I hope this line is clear to everyone. And then there's a counter question. He says, in order to find a solution, we have to first understand what the crisis is. Crisis hai kya? Crisis, is it COVID, or is it crisis of lack of receiving help for mental health? If I know the core problem, I think addressing the problem will be effective. That's the question the author has put up. Can you ascertain what the next page will talk about? Can you anticipate what the next page would talk about? Let's practice anticipation. That will help us skim better. Can you anticipate what the next page would talk about? Yes? No? Let me see if you can guess it. Defining the crisis. Absolutely yes, Nihar. So what did I tell you? If there's a question, very likely the author is going to be answering that question. The question is understanding what is the crisis. If you know the crisis, you can address the problem. So probably the next page will talk about what exactly is the crisis. Is it COVID? Is it inflation? Is it lack of jobs? Or is it not receiving ample of mental health care? Let's read the next page and let's see if we have assumed correctly. Okay, here we go. Next page. Read this and send me a done. Now my first question. It's a very interesting page. My first question. Of course, this page is criticizing something. What is it criticizing? What is the author criticizing in this page? Answer this. What is the author criticizing in this page? Precisely, yes, Sankirtana. Others? Any guess? Let me explain reification to you first, okay? I think probably understanding the whole page after that becomes easier. Reification is giving a tangible form to something that's abstract. Abstract, intangible को अगर आप एक name दे देते हो, एक physical form दे देते हो, एक proper definition दे देते हो, that's reification. Trend of the focusing on the results and not the symptoms of an issue. I would agree. Precisely, if I use one word, if I use reification here, he's criticizing politicians. Let's understand how. Though I would absolutely agree with you, Sankirtana and Amrit, that what you've written is absolutely correct. I'm just making it more concise by using the term politicians. Everyone who didn't understand that, let me explain this to you. Reification aa gaya samajh mein, where an abstract thing is given a physical form or a tangible definition. Okay. Now, let's see, for example, social media addiction. People are addicted to social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We're addicted to social media addiction. But then, is this the basic problem, or the problem is unregulated tech oligopolies, these tech giants who are making us addicted to social media? Is this not the problem? Similarly, we have a problem, heat wave. It is a problem. But is this a problem, or is the greed of corporates increasing the temperature of this world the basic problem? This is the problem. This is the problem. Social media addiction is a byproduct of the problem. But you know, the author says it's very easy for us to blame it on the commoners. कि public पे blame कर दो. How political power is influencing the several problems of society, giving another meaning. Absolutely. So exact issue, अपनी responsibility dodge करने के लिए, you blame it on the commoners or you blame it on the society. So you see, there is a fight between the political issues and the societal issues. And of course, the political issues are given a new name, reification, where they are being blamed on the commoners or the society. It's very easy to blame it on the commoners, right? Can you link this whole paragraph to the issue of mental health? Can you make an analogy here, everyone? If you already made this analogy, you, trust my words, will be able to answer inference questions in a jiffy. You will not have problems in that. आपको हमेशा you need to make mind maps. If this paragraph is written, what is its link with the issue of mental health the author had brought up in the penultimate page? If you already made the link, you're good to go. If you did not, try thinking that way. Link pages. What is the relationship with the whole theory of reification the author gives here with the issue of mental health? Okay, so now, of course, I think this whole theory of reification is easy for you. We have made it inflation, heat wave, social media addiction, but the core issues are different. Okay, and ultimately we know where the issue arises out of. Let's read the next page and let's understand what the author talks about. Very likely he would link reification to the issue of mental health crisis. That is something that can be inferred. Next page, read this and send me a done. Done? Okay. Do you see the link between mental health crisis and reification? The author uses the term here medicalization. When you go to a doctor, you say, I have migraine, I keep getting headaches again and again. The doctor will give you medication to cure your migraine. You say, my hand hurts, he'll give you medication to cure your hand. What if the doctor works on identifying the origin of the issue? Why did my hand start hurting? Why did I have migraine? If the doctor starts identifying the core issue where the problem arises out of, the entire problem would be resolved. Cancer, you'll be given treatment. There'll be radiation and other treatments. But what causes cancer? Let's take the example of cancer and understanding this entire situation of mental health crisis will be easy for you. Why do people have cancer these days? Why is it so popular disease these days? Because of what we have been consuming. The air, the food, everything is adulterated, everything is polluted. Doctors are focusing on identifying a cure for cancer. If we focus on curing the root causes of cancer, that's going to be a better solution instead of focusing on the cure for cancer. That exactly is how mental health is linked to reification and medicalization. Are you able to link both of these two terms to mental health crisis till now? Yes, Sankirtana, you're right. Exactly, Prats. Tracing the root cause will help. And the root cause is possibly a political one. Are you able to think of a root cause for the mental health crisis by now? Let's follow reification here. Are you able to think of a root cause for mental health crisis? We'll talk about that gradually as the passage ends. Let me get suggestions from you. Tell me some of the root causes of mental health crisis. Of course, dealing with it could be providing mental health help, but what's the root cause? What is the root cause of the mental health crisis all of us are in? Yes, prevention is better than cure, Nihar. Absolutely, Amrit, that could be true. Our degrading economy, What else? Think, guys, there are so many. Think. There are thousands we can name. We just have to think of what can disturb your mental health. As a person who's working outside, what can disturb your mental health? Corruption? Of course it can. I have a tiny house that I made in Uttarakhand. I'll tell you something from my own personal experience. I made a tiny house in Uttarakhand, and there was an old law that said if your house is within 200 meters of the national highway, you need to get a map passed. But my house was 210 meters away. But then one of the uh, politicians thought to take revenge. I don't know for what. And I've been struggling to remove the stay on my Uttarakhand house. I've been struggling for the last 3 months. There's a stay on my house. There was a demolition notice on my house. And I've been fighting for that 10 meters difference. So, too much noise? Yeah, of course. Oh, I thought you were saying the noise in the background. Yeah, absolutely. Too much noise. Work-life balance. Increasing effect of social media. Can I say, somewhere or the other, the political philosophy, the political decisions, the political scenario of the country is responsible for all the things that you've mentioned. Too much noise, work-life balance, comparison, social media addiction, not being able to share your opinions freely, lack of social circle. So can I say, somewhere or the other, if the government that we have works on this issue can be resolved. In a way, yes. Yes, in a way. Okay. Let's continue if the author talks about similar issues. Continues. Okay. This page we've already discussed. Next page, here you go. Read this and send me a done. Does this page have any argument? Do you see any argument in the page? Or is it full of premise? Do I need to infer anything here in the page? There is a taboo in the society. People who go for counseling to talk about the things which is bothering them, people tag them as, oh, but you know what, Sankirtana, now it is changing. At least with the people that I'm surrounded with, I see there's a massive change. I see there's a massive change in the students that I teach and their outlook. Of course, there are different elements of the sort that you're talking of, but there is a change that is visible. It's absolutely, this page is absolutely premise. There's nothing to infer here. There is no argument the author is making. He's just trying to explain his point that we've already discussed. This page should have been skimmed. You should not have paid a lot of attention to this page. I think that's the last. Yeah, here's the last page. Read this and tell me if you could conclude everything correctly. Or, in other words, what we concluded till now, is it visible in this page? Read this and tell me the answer. Did we infer correctly? Did we draw correct inference and correct conclusion in the passage? You see, he says solving this crisis will need to provide people with the basic infrastructure, which creates a buffer for them, which prevents them from getting into a mental health crisis. If you provide people with childcare, job security, education, food security, housing, I'll tell you something. If you talk to me about the problems that I have today, 99% of them will be resolved by this. I think this, because I was wondering if my daughter would run into the class today. I was wondering this today. It looked, she's a little unwell. So if I had this, I think most of my problem would be resolved. And I would believe it with you as well. Once you get into the industry, start working, you would know most of your problems will arise somewhere out of at least one of these problems. So if the government focuses, if the politicians focus on resolving these issues, we have a buffer. This bolsters us from getting into mental health crisis. Eventually, the solution, if we get back to the first question the author had put up, what was the first question? The first question was, the cure for mental health crisis is not mental health care. It is curing the origin of mental health. And the origin can be cured by addressing these issues. Conclusion is people go through mental health issues to meet the basic needs. Yes, that's true. Same conclusion the author draws. We need to shift focus to the root cause of the increasing health issues. Absolutely. So that was about the article. It was, I hope you loved reading this article, and the summary is pretty evident. Your homework is the tone of the author. In the last class, if you had commented under my video, I've replied to each one of your comment. Please check the comment. Today's homework is again commenting the tone of the author under my video, not in the chat box right now, under my video in the comment section. But before I wind up the class, we have our new series on YouTube starting for CAT 22 aspirants. I am Bangalore Previous Year Question Paper Series 2007-2016. So make sure you don't miss out on this series. It will be conducted by one of the serial 99 percentilers we have teaching here. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on the series. And if you're targeting CAT 2023, we have a new comprehensive program that we have launched. You can enroll yourself for this program. We shall see you in the classes very, very soon. And you can enroll yourself for a test series that we have recently launched. The details, the description is there under my video in the description box, so you can know more about the test series that we have recently launched. And make sure you sit for All India Open Mock for CAT 22 aspirants. Tomorrow the window opens. It closes on 9th of October. Don't miss out on that. Make sure you, okay, have you, thank you so much. If you've loved the article, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't done that yet, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, download our app on Google Play. And don't leave the class without hitting the like button. Thank you so much, everyone. I shall see you again next Thursday. Work really hard. Read lots of articles. Remember me if these classes help you, if you're able to answer them correctly. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a very good day. God bless you.